My girlfriend and I both brought our secret lovers on a weekend trip, and everything unraveled.
I, 30M, had been dating my girlfriend, Sarah, 29F, for 4 years. Things between us had gotten rocky over the past year. We were constantly fighting over small things, and the passion we once had seemed to be fading. It felt like we were both just going through the motions, and honestly, I wasn't even sure why we stayed together. A few months ago, I started a new job and became close to a coworker named Emily. We clicked instantly. She was funny, charming, and easy to talk to, unlike how things had become with Sarah. One evening after a stressful day at work, we went out for drinks, and, well, one thing led to another. What started as a one-time mistake turned into a full-blown affair. I knew it was wrong, but Emily was a breath of fresh air, and I didn't know how to walk away. Meanwhile, Sarah had been acting differently, too. She seemed distracted, spending more time with her friends, working late, and avoiding our usual routines. I figured she was distancing herself because of the strain in our relationship, and in some twisted way, that made me feel a little less guilty about my own actions. Then came the fateful weekend trip. One of our mutual friends, Jake, had invited a group of us to his family's lake house to get away from the city and just relax. Sarah and I decided to go, and, well, I thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to invite Emily along too. Emily was hesitant at first, but eventually, she agreed, and we decided we'd just keep our interactions casual around everyone. We arrived at the lake house, and that's when things got weird. As soon as we got there, Sarah pulled me aside, looking nervous. Before I could ask what was wrong, she said she had invited a friend, Brian, who would be joining us shortly. She was cagey about the details, but I didn't think much of it. When Brian arrived, everything clicked. The moment I saw him, I noticed the way Sarah's face lit up, the same way it used to light up for me. They hugged for a little too long, shared looks that were way too familiar. My heart sank. I had been so wrapped up in my own infidelity that I hadn't even considered she might be doing the same. Throughout the weekend, it became increasingly obvious that Sarah and Brian were more than just friends. They'd sneak off for private conversations, sit way too close during group activities, and share inside jokes. But I wasn't innocent either. Emily was there, and I had to constantly remind myself to act normal, even though being around her made my heart race. Everything came to a head on the last night of the trip. We were playing a game of Never Have I Ever, and someone jokingly said, "Never have I ever cheated on a partner." The tension in the room was palpable. Sarah and I locked eyes, and it was like we both knew in that instant. We both drank. The room went silent. Our friends stared at us, wide-eyed, as we realized what had just happened. Emily and Brian, who had been sitting across from each other, both looked equally shocked. The secrets were out in the open, and the embarrassment and betrayal we felt were impossible to hide. Sarah stormed out, and I followed her. We had a long, messy, tear-filled argument by the lake. It turned out she had started seeing Brian around the same time I'd started my thing with Emily. Neither of us knew, but both of us were guilty. We admitted that our relationship had been dead for a while and that maybe this mess was the wake-up call we needed. The trip ended with us driving home separately. Sarah and I officially broke up a week later, both realizing we had been clinging to something that was already over. As for Emily and Brian? Well, they weren't too happy about being dragged into our drama, and those relationships fizzled out pretty quickly too. Sometimes, it takes the worst kind of revelation to show you what you were too scared to admit. Our relationship was long over before either of us started cheating. And though it was a painful, humiliating experience, it forced us to face the truth and finally let go.